Hi, everybody. I see some of you coming in. Please let me know if you can hear me. I think the chat is working. So let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Awesome. Okay, thank you so much. We're coming to the top of the hour, and I actually have a little microphone here. Oops, I don't know if you can see it. I've never used this before, so I'm hopeful that is going to facilitate the conversation. And actually, as I was getting ready for this, I was like, hopefully you will get the recording. I think I'm recording this time. Last time I forgot to hit record. But it is such a different experience when you actually attend live. Even research shows that when you're here, you do grasp a lot more of the knowledge and the learning than if you were to watch this later on. And even quite often you don't watch it later on because you don't have the time. So for those of you that are making the time to be here with me, I very, very much appreciate it. I think it's good use of your time. As many of you know, I actually came into this cap season in last year, at the end of last year is when we always begin to prepare, thinking, okay, well, this is not going to be that much different. And oh boy, I was wrong. There is so much. And as I prepared this presentation, it's long. I am going to try to make it. I know I put it for 30 minutes, and I'm going to do my best to keep it at 30 minutes. In order to do that, I am probably going to skip many slides, but you will get the slides, so you will be able to kind of review. So the slides that I'm going to skip, if I do that, maybe slides that really by reading what is there, you get an idea of, you get the message. What I'm going to try to do is just give you a general overview as to what you need to know. And of course, many of you are our clients, so we will be talking to you individually and guiding you through this process as we go through it. So I'm going to get started. It is kind of a little bit of the top of the hour. So again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being here live. This webinar, so in prior years, quite a few years back, because I've been doing now separate webinars for a little while. But I used to have employers and employees for nationals in the same webinar, and you both have different questions. You look at it from a different perspective. So I've decided to do an employers webinar and a foreign nationals webinar. You're welcome to attend both, but this one is really more geared to what the employers need to know. Okay, so I'm going to get started. Try to turn off distractions. Again, I'm going to try to keep you here for only 30 minutes. May go a little longer, but come here with me so that we can get the most out of this. Every case is unique. I have to say this because no matter, I may get some questions in the chat that are very case specific, and I will not address those because sometimes it would take my whole 30 minutes addressing that. So know that if you have specific questions and you're one of our clients, we're going to be addressing those with you individually. If you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, please do so, because I also post a lot on LinkedIn that you may want to have access to. You can use your phone and just scan my QR code there, and we can connect. Okay. And also we'll give you background information about me, which I'm skipping right now because, again, I want to give you the best content and not spend time on who I am. I've been practicing for a very long time, more than I thought I would. Okay. H1B visa, the cap, the lottery, what is new? Whenever I do this webinars and I ask employers, what do you want to know? It's like, tell me what's new. Well, a lot. So I'm going to spend a fair amount of time on what is new. I'm going to talk about process, the timelines, notifications of selection, remote work, which is really important. Cap gap, employment and travel, and managing expectations. For those of you who have done this for the last few years with us, you know that some of these topics are more recent than others. And managing expectations is becoming even more of an important piece of this process than it's ever been. Okay, so here are some of the slides that I may just go by very quickly. Some of you that have been doing this for a while know the H1B basics. For those of you that are new, the H1B is the most used of all the work visas, but it's also the most abused, and it really has a lot of regulations attached to it because it is abused. It requires a sponsorship by a U.S. employer. The position has to be a specialty occupation. This would have been a much bigger deal if the whole modernization rule as a whole would have passed, but it didn't. It doesn't mean that this is still an issue that we may face later in the year, but it's not an issue that we're going to have to face for at least the CAP filings. And there is additional requirements with her H1B visa, which deals with LCAs and notices and wages, which I'm going to go into more detail during the webinar. And the reason why we have a lottery is because there is a limited number of new H1B visas every year. So there is a total of 85,000 H1B visas, new ones, 65 that are basically regular, there are US master's and bachelor's degrees and everything else, and 20,000 that are designated for those that have US master's degrees or higher. If there is more than 85,000 registrants, which has been the case for many years now, we have a lottery. The lottery is computer generated. It's a true random selection. There have been many, many proposals about changing the random selection based on wages and this and the other. But so far, we still have our random selection. The registrations come in, they get assigned a number. That number gets put through a lottery, and then they just get selected. Chances of selection are not first come, first serve, first register for They're all during the register. As long as you file during the registration period and you file what is required to be filed, you will be entered into the lottery. And again, the U.S. Masters, those with U.S. Masters have a little bit of a higher chance of getting selected. So, general overview, what's new? And why it's all this new. One of the questions that I get asked a lot is, what are my chances of selection, or what are the chances of selection of my employee? Well, last year was a complete disaster. In prior years, so these are the numbers. So typically in 2021, 2022, it was a little bit higher of a 50% chance. For most of our candidates, we typically had like about a 60%. And then for those with a US Masters, we've had almost sometimes 80% selection. When we got into last year, everybody's trying to get these visas. And last year, people went above and beyond in being creative. So there were 780,000 registrations filed for 85,000. Now, there was criminal investigations that were conducted. There were many that were withdrawn, taken away. I mean, last year was a very interesting and remarkable year, in the sense that we also had a second lottery, because there were so many that were entered into this first lottery that were just considered fraudulent. So as a result of all of that, there have been all the changes that we're going to talk about. One of the first changes and this was part of the modernization rule, actually the only piece of the modernization rule that passed. This was a proposal that had like 500 and some pages that affected not only the H1B cap, but a lot of the other pieces of the H1B visa process. But this new beneficiary-centric registration is the only piece of that 500 and some pages that made it to this H1B cap season. I am thrilled that this piece made it, because what it's going to do is it's going to make it a lot more fair for all of you, which I believe are doing the right thing in terms of registering your candidates. The way how almost 800,000 people got registered last year is because the registration was not beneficiary centric, meaning, in fact, some people got entered 10 times into the lottery. Some were fake job offers, fake employers, and people that got paid to enter people into the lottery. And they were put into the lottery 10 times because there was no way of identifying how many times a person had been entered into the lottery. The way the process is going to work right now is one registration per passport. So even if the person has two passports, supposedly they're not going to be able to enter twice into the lottery. And the registration, the way they're going to be selected is one beneficiary, one selection, not, again, if you have 10 registrations, you can be picked 10 times. Even if you have 10 registrations, you're going to be picked only once, which will allow for the distribution of these visas for more people to be able to get a chance if they're only registered once. Now that creates a problem, and this has been, I still don't know what the answer is going to be to this. And literally over the weekend, as I was reviewing the latest of the latest, most of your foreign nationals are going to have a valid passport or a travel document with them. I'm still trying to figure out what USCIS will consider a travel document, foreign travel document. But there's going to be a few that they're from Venezuela or they are on TPS and they cannot get a valid passport. And USCIS, unbelievably to me, their answer, there's been many commentaries about this is, you have to give us another option because there are some people that cannot get a valid passport. And their answer from USCIS was like, well, that's a minority and we cannot worry about it, which it's unbelievable to me. So again, this may affect one or two of your foreign nationals, and if that's the case, well, I'm looking for an answer, and we'll talk to you about it. For most of you, this will not be a problem, and in fact, it will benefit your candidate because again, it's going to be one passport, one beneficiary, one registration, one selection. And related entities, which is what happened last year too, related entities file for register the same beneficiary multiple times. That's not going to be able to happen this year. Okay, so I think this is a good thing. Now the next thing is this new organizational accounts. For those of you that have participated in the lottery before, we have worked with you and you have set up My USCIS accounts. Those My USCIS accounts are still active. In fact, I went into mine yesterday to see what the situation was. And I was actually able to upgrade, I believe, my USCIS account, my own. So it is working, it's work in progress. Again, I believe that for those of you that have a My USCIS account, it's just going to be a matter of us sending you an invitation to link your My USCIS account with our account, and then we can take the process forward from there. For those of you who do not have a MyUSCIS account, we will set up what you need to set up, and we will send you an invitation to confirm that the information that we have entered is correct, and that we can link our accounts that way. The accounts, again, are being worked on because just today I have the box to invite my paralegals, and I tried to invite my paralegals, and the system told me it wasn't ready to do that. So it's still kind of work in progress. The platform will go into effect February 28th. That's when they become active. And so please don't touch anything until then, because as we'll see from the following slides, if you make a mistake, it's almost impossible to reverse it, okay? There's a lot of new lingo, new terminology. You can read through this slide. There is various permission levels of whether you're a legal representative or whether you're an administrator of your company or whether you're a member or a paralegal. Again, we are fighting, I want to say fighting with USCIS because some of these restrictions don't really make sense. But for now, this is kind of what we have. So just know if you're an administrator for your company, you're going to have the most capabilities on the account. Same as me, as the legal representative for my account. And then my paralegals have some limited capabilities on the account. This is most likely the way that there's various scenarios, but scenario 3 is typically what is going to happen to you. Our legal team in the middle is going to send an invite to the administrator of the companies that we work with. Those administrators will review the information, accept the invitation, and that's how our accounts are going to connect. So I kind of laid this out as I expect that it's going to happen. Legal, so adds the client or the company group, that's what they're called, to our upgraded MyUSCIS account. Legal complete, so we'll enter the information, we complete the company administrator profile, we send an invitation to the administrator, whoever you designate the administrator to be. That administrator has 7 calendar days to review and accept the invite. What I envision is what we have done with the prior handshake in prior years, is that we let you know that, hey, Alex, on February, whatever, not on February, say March 3rd, are you available at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time so that we can send you the invite, you can review the information, you can accept it, because invitations cannot be rejected, they cannot be withdrawn, so it can be very tricky. So basically, we're just going to coordinate with you as to when we're going to send you the invitation so you can review it, accept it, and then that would allow us to continue to work on your behalf, okay? And this is kind of how it's supposed to happen. Again, from your end, the company onboarding, basically you're going to be using this review invitation. We will create, the way I understand this, no one has actually seen the back end except for USCIS of what this is supposed to look like or function. But my understanding is that we're going to be able to create your company group if you're not already there, because you have not filed an H1B Cap before. Then we'll send you an invitation, you review and accept that invitation, and then we'll continue working on your case. How to get the enhanced platform. I also envision that when we send you the invite, when you log into, say you have a MyUSCIS account, that when you log in, just like what happened to me yesterday, it prompted me to do a few things to upgrade my account. So that's, again, how I envision that this is going to happen. There's lots of rules, and this are literally slides from the USCIS presentation. Companies should plan the account before anyone logs in, because again, whoops, how am I an administrator? I only click a few screens. I mean, you can mess up the accounts very easily. And so groups cannot be deleted. I mean, there's very little flexibility as to what can be done. So again, just wait for us to give you the guidance. And I'm not going to jump in on the first day. I am watching everything that has happened, all the stuff that the American Immigration Lawyers Association is putting out, so that we can give you the best information and diminish your stress and the time that you involve in all of this. More rules. And there are a few more rules. So I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm gonna give you the slides. You can look through this. Hopefully you won't have to worry about any of these rules, because we'll do that for you. So new organizational accounts, registration centric, which is the only one that I'm really happy about. This one, new H1B government filing fees, I'm super upset about, but obviously I don't have a lot to say on it. One of the things that bothers me the most is, so the fees, the base fee from the H1B goes from 460 to 780. As I started saying at the beginning of the presentation, some of you, this is your first time doing H1B caps. The H1Bs are the most regulated, have the most fees, all this kind of stuff. No other work visa has an anti-fraud fee of $500 or any amount. No any other visa has this acquire fee that is supposed to pay to support a STEM education in the United States. So $750 or $1,500, depending on the number of employees that you have. So those are fees that don't exist in any other work visa, but have been tagged to the H1B for years, for as long as I've been practicing. So those fees stay. We have the filing fee, base fee going up. And then, because employers are so generous, we have a surcharge fee for the inefficiencies of the asylum program in this country. So employers get to be taxed with $300 or $600 to pay for the asylum program. And that brings the total on a basic H1B to 2,020 or 3,390 basic filing fees. If you add to that, for some reason, premium processing, which when I talk to the foreign nationals, they all want their premium processing cases premium. And I'm going to tell them, this is a lot of money, and I don't believe it's necessary. Last year, we did very well in our cases without using premium processing. There's some cases that have a need for premium processing, and we will talk to you about them if needed. But as a general rule, I do not recommend premium, particularly on these H1B caps. Not only that, not only premium is going up or has gone up, now it used to be 15 calendar days. With the new fee, now they have 3 weeks. It goes to 15 business days. So I am just really upset because I have not seen any changes in processing times. If anything, they're getting worse. Their adjudications are horrendous, but the fees keep going up because there is no accountability for what the government is doing. And so I'm going to get off that box, but we have new filing fees. And then we also have this new electronic filing, which you may hear again and again because USCIS is pushing for this electronic filing. But this is literally, I just took a screenshot of the emails from AILA attorneys, because electronic filing is currently available for some petitions. This is the first time that USCIS, this meaning now during the cap season, that USCIS makes electronic filing available for the I-129. So has never been tested before, but the current experience with electronic filing is this what I'm showing you here. So this is an AILA attorney writing, "Good afternoon. Is anyone having problems accessing the USCIS system? Many cases disappear from our dashboard in the USCIS online site. Not only that, but today it won't even let me submit anything online. Any advice would be much appreciated. Imagine if this is what were to happen to our H1B Cap cases with the 90-day filing timeline. Then AILA, American Immigration Lawyers Association, responds. AILA is aware and has been communicating with USCIS since yesterday. They're pushing fixes out since last night and today to try to resolve this issue. They hope to have a resolution today. See this practice alert pushed out yesterday, which we will be uploading as we get more information. Practice alert, AILA National is aware of my USCIS outages, So this is just to give you a glimpse as to why I do not plan to use electronic filing for our H1B Cap petitions. Unless it is absolutely necessary, which I hope it's not, we intend to file paper filing like we have done before until this system gets tested and other people have, complaints and issues, and USCIS comes up with a system that is workable, that we don't have these issues, because I do not want to have any of you worrying whether your petition can be submitted or not because USCIS has some sort of an outage in their USCIS filing system. So the electronic filing, the interface is extremely cumbersome. Various concerns, losing information on the online platform, crashes of the system because of whatever reason, interrupted document uploads, disjointed case filing, lack of IT support, and some more. So my general recommendation right now is we're going to continue to paper file. There is no necessarily an advantage at all to electronic filing, except for a $50 discount, considering that they increased their filing fees by almost $2,000 more. The $50 discount, considering all the negativity, I really don't think is a benefit to anybody. So we're going to go with what is true and tested and file paper. And to top it all off, we also have a new I-129 form that has not been completely approved. And this, what I put in here is the draft that I was able to find buried in one of the USCIS sites. So lots happening. Okay, process timelines and notification. I know I'm going pretty quick. What is happening right now with all of us and all of you is the preparation, the strategy, due diligence, learning what is ahead, learning about the organizational accounts, then the registration, then the lottery, then the LCA, preparation, filing, and certification, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about, H1B preparation, filing, adjudication. And then for those of you that are fairly new to this, just know that H1Bs, even if they're selected and approved, they don't become effective until October 1st. And we're going to talk about the cap gap. Among other things that are also happening, ONET, which is what determines to some degree, and this is a Department of Labor database, whether a profession is a specialty occupation, has also been making changes to the requirements for certain positions because of the difficult labor market. Many employers are not even listing what is the minimal educational requirement for a particular position. And they're accepting AA degrees and not necessarily requiring a bachelor's degree, which has prompted the Department of Labor to lower the standards for some of the entry-level positions. And so that's something else that we have to do our due diligence on when we're selecting the ONET categories for your positions, to make sure that we can defend the fact that it is a specialty occupation. So that's part of the, the due diligence. We're looking at our own categories. We're looking at the titles of the positions that you're giving us. We're looking at the job duties and making sure that they align with ONET. So when we tell you that we do a lot of the legwork, that is kind of some of the stuff that we are doing right now. So this is kind of, again, a general idea as to what happened. And this particular one was computer system analyst, which is a category that is used a lot. Okay, so timeline. This is what we're looking at. The organizational accounts will go live February 28th at noon and will remain open throughout the registration period. Meaning if you don't have your organizational account set up by February, March 1st, you're going to be okay. The registration period runs from March 6th through March 22nd. Our goal is to get everybody registered probably. So this is a Wednesday. So we're going to let all the nightmare happen on March 6th, 7th, 8th. And we're going to be most likely registering after that. That's what we have done for all the prior years. Lottery runs from the time that registration closes until March 31st. And typically March 30, March 31st, we're going to start getting notifications of selection. How does that happen? The way it happens is on this My USCI accounts, organizational accounts, the employer and legal, us, will receive either an email or text, depending on what you selected as your way of getting notified. And basically, you just get an email or a text that says your account has been updated or something to that effect. And you actually have to, so it doesn't tell you who or what or anything. You have to log in and then view the individual selection notices. For me, I typically spend my weekend just going into my USCIS account and determining who got selected now, which I'm thrilled. So I'm happy to do that. Not a problem at all. And I love to let you know who has been selected. Now, for those of you that have 1 or 2 employees that we're working with, this may not be a big deal. But for those of you that have more, a number of employees that we're working with you to register, they're going to be emailing us. Was I selected? Was I selected? Was I selected? And I'm going to tell them during the For Nationals webinar that I am not going to tell anybody that they were selected until you let me know that it's okay for us to tell them. So just know that we're going to be asking you, is it okay to let them know? And if you say yes, then we will. What happens after the notification of selection? So starting April 1st, we'll have a 90-day window to prepare and file those petitions. That's why we're doing a lot of the work now. Note that there is some cases that we're going to have to file before others. And I'm going to explain how this works. And the priority filings will be those who have OPT EADs or STEM EADs that are ending during a cap gap period. And if you don't know what the cap gap period is, I'm going to explain that in a minute. Because I've been talking for a while, and please, if you can, hang on with me for a little bit so that you can get to know the rest of this. I've tried. I haven't taken a break yet. But I do want you to tell me in the chat. I want to make sure that you're still here with me. Please let me know one aha moment so far, something that you have learned that you didn't know. Let me take a drink of tea. Well, you tell me on the chat, not only that I learned what you're learning, but also to make sure that you're still with me. Tell me on the chat. Please tell me you've learned something. Yes, thank you. Yes, I appreciate that. Yes, yep. Yeah. Correct. Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay, good. Thank you. Again, one, because it lets me know that you're paying attention. It also gives me a little break here. So we're going to continue to talk through this. Okay, this is really important. It's become more and more important now because of the hybrid work availability. In the past, this wasn't a big deal, but it is a big deal because the labor condition application and the petitions that we're filing on your behalf are linked to work specific locations. And because you just saw the filing fees, how huge they are going to be, if we have to file an amended petition with an extension, which sometimes is the case, those filing fees need to be paid again. So again, for those of you that are brand new to this process, this is an important consideration. Whether, if the person is going to be working from home and in the office, we need to include both work locations, home and office, in the LCA and the petition, even if they work from home, once a week or whatever, because we want to make sure that they're both captured in the LCA so that there is no amendment in the future if we don't need to, okay? And I'm going to go into this a little bit more detail. So remote work considerations, the LCA must be filed for the geographic area of intended employment, which is the area within normal commuting distance. And this is relative. I mean, it's a normal commuting distance between Jacksonville and St. Augustine. Arguably, yes. It's a normal commuting distance between Jackson and Orlando? Probably not. If the employee moves to a new geographic area of intended employment, such as a different state, and that happened a lot last year, the petition was filed for a work location in Florida, say Orlando, and then it was a hybrid position, and then the person decided to move to Seattle, Washington. Well, now we have to file not just a new LCA, we have to file a new H1B petition. That's a big deal, okay? So this becomes an important consideration. It is a very complex analysis, but here are the general rules. If the worker is allowed to work from home, the home address should be listed as a work location on the LCA and the H1B petition. If the person moves, which happens all the time, but let's say they move apartment or they moved within Jacksonville, so they moved from, say, downtown to, who knows, the beaches. Arguably this is within the same MSA. And I would say in that situation, just a new posting notice is required, but nothing more, which is great. But if a new location outside the MSA, so again, they moved from Jacksonville to Orlando, now we have an amended petition that is required, new posting, new LCA, new H1B, new filing fees. It's huge. Short-term placements are allowed. So for example, you got a contract in Orlando and the person has to go there for 30 days, 60 days, then we're okay. That's not a big deal. So just keep this in mind as we work with you on work locations, okay? Gap, employment and travel, another very important consideration. I just said to you, I'm going to touch on the gap because there are some cases that I have to, for your benefit and your workers' benefits, I have to file before others. Many of you have foreign nationals that have OPT EADs that end, say, May 1st. Because their EAD ends May 1st, if that's the case, or somewhere in there before June 30th, say, I have to file that petition and have it accepted by USCIS before May 1st. And if that happens, then that employment authorization document for that worker gets automatically extended under this rule that is called the gap. So just automatically, their EAD gets extended for their ability to work from May 1st, or May 2nd, when the EAD ended, all the way to September 30th. It's a huge benefit that this has been around for a while. It's one of my favorite benefits out of the very few that USCIS has come up with, because it before this foreign nationals, way back when I started practicing, they had to leave the United States and then come back October 1st. Now they get to stay and they get to stay and work. But for that to happen, I need to file. Oh, and I'm literally, we're prioritizing those cases and we're, putting them in red, priority filing. Some of your other foreign nationals that, have employment authorization documents that are good until the end of the year or until next year, it's not that they're not a priority. We have to file them all by June 30th. But I need to prioritize, because if I file one of those that has an EAD that ends May 1st on June 30th, they're not able to work at all. They're done as of May 1st. Okay, so I hope that makes sense for those of you that this is the first time hearing this. So if you have one of those foreign nationals, know that we're going to be working with them and you to get those filings out first. Okay. This is another question that I get a lot from the foreign nationals. And for those of you that have foreign nationals that are on STEM OPT or have the ability to take advantage of a STEM OPT, the question that I get asked is, should I bother? I'm going to get Gap. My answer is yes, they should bother. They should take advantage of the STEM OPT. And it also has a very tight timeline, very, very tight. So, and the students know that, your foreign nationals know that they have like a 90-day period to apply for that STEM OPT before their current OPT EAD expires. And they need to take advantage of that. And I have resources as to what needs to happen and all of that, but just, if they ask you, say yes, they should apply for the STEM OPT, believe me. Okay, the other thing that comes up a lot is international travel. They all want to travel. They have been here for 5 years, going to school, or 3 or whatever, and they all want to travel. I'm an immigrant myself. I was born in Cuba, some of you know this. I haven't been back to my home country since I left in who knows, like I probably haven't been back for 30 years. Do I miss it? Yes. Do I miss my family? Yes. But there's reasons why I have not gone back. And I know that this can be hard, and there is reasons why they want to go home, but they have so much at risk, so much, that my recommendation is no travel until, particularly if they get selected, there is no travel until after October 1st. And at that point, if they go abroad, they're also going to have to get a new H1B visa stamp in order to be able to come back to the United States. But there is a lot of horror stories as to why travel is not advisable at this time. Managing expectations. For those of you that have been through this before, you're going to it is a very stressful time for all involved. It's a horrendous way to provide for work visas in the United States, especially for talented workers. And that's how I feel about it, but it's what we have. So just know that there has to be a lot of flexibility. There is a lot of emotions involved. There's a lot of questions. We will do our best to provide you support. This is why I'm doing webinars. This is where I'm sending out FAQs. But just the best thing is to remain open and flexible. The other thing that is going to happen, they're going to come to you about, well, my friend did this and my friend did that, and I read online, whatever. As much as I want to say whatever their friend did, every case is unique. That's one of my first lies that I started with. And when I get to the bottom of what the friend did, it's very different than what the story they painted or what their situation is. So every case is unique, and they cannot think about what my friend did or my friend whatever, or what I read in the newspaper or what I read in the news. That's what we're working here with you. And if we start going out and listening to everybody else, you would drive yourself crazy. Okay. All right. Give me a yes if this was helpful. Hopefully I know your head is not spinning. And if you have another aha moment, please let me know that. I appreciate it. It was really interesting for me to read what you had to say before, and I appreciate your yeses. I mean, I'm doing this for you. And so you're also going to get a chance. So now, on a scale of 1 to 10, are you now more confident about this process or totally confused? How are you feeling now versus when you started? Yay! Fabulous. Okay. All right, awesome. We got this. All right. Now, if you have, yes, we're here to help you. Absolutely. If you have, I mean, and you're going to be talking to us all the way. You're going to be talking to me, or you're going to be talking to one of our paralegals. Know that I'm always behind the scenes, even if I may not be the one responding to your emails. You can email us directly, or you can also use the QR code here and, ask me another questions. What I do with these questions is literally, that's how I put these presentations together, is I look back at what questions were asked last year, what questions you have this year, and that also drives the future communications and information that you get from me, okay? So please don't be shy, use the QR code, send me questions, because by asking, you're helping others too. So I thank you very much for staying with me all the way to now. This is what a registration selection notice looks like. I hope that we're going to see many, many, many of them for all of you. Again, thank you for being here, and thank you for your trust, your partnership, your teamwork. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.